The Analyzer Sequence Viewer is located on the left-hand side of VisualText. This is where text analyzers are constructed to perform a specific task, such as extracting information from natural language documents or building knowledge bases for other analyzers to use. Today we will be using tutorial number 3 on recursion to demonstrate the features of the analyzer sequence. You can follow along by going down here into the analyzers viewer, click on this little cog to load example analyzers, and you will get these analyzers, including the tutorials. If you open up the tutorials folder, you can come down and click on tutorial number 3, and you can follow along with me. The first thing we want to talk about in the analyzer sequence is a tokenizer. The tokenizer takes text and breaks it down into tokens. Now, there are various types of tokenizers. The CML you can forget about, that's not important. The dictionary tokenizer, which will look up the words in the dictionary to the tokens it has. And in this one, you don't have any white space. It'll eliminate white space. There's a dictionary tokenizer, which is basically will look up words in the dictionary as it tokenizes. You can also do one called separate all characters. So sometimes you want to separate all the characters in the text, and every character gets its own line and own token. And the default tokenizer, which basically breaks all text down into special characters, alphanumerics, and numerics. And if you have a word like Fred 002, it will break that word into Fred as one token and 002 as another. So we can run this, and when we run it, we'll get our final tree, and we can take a look at the final tree. And here you can see it breaking down into tokens, and of course it's doing some other things. If you're coming down here to lines, we can actually look at what it looks like very early on in the tokenizing sequence. So you can see here they're breaking down tokens. Here's a period, here's G, here's a space, etc. Now let's say we want to look up words in this text. This is a demo, a resume written in markup language, and let's say we want to put an English dictionary and look up words that we know would be in English. Well, what you can do then is go to and change it to a dictionary tokenizer, otherwise it won't be used. Come down here to the KB viewer, go to the English dictionary and choose the full English dictionary. Now when I run this, because dictok is there, it will look up the words in the dictionary. So it's running right now, it's loading the dictionary, and there's the final tree. Now let's take a look at this, and you can now see that you have words like overview as a noun, you have computer noun, programmer noun, experience as a noun and a verb. So that's how the important parts of the tokenizer. You have the regular tokenizer or the dictionary tokenizer. Now we will talk about the different types of passes, and there are 3 basic passes. So if I click here, I can insert a new pass. There are rule passes, and we'll call this, we'll just call it rule. And if you click on that, you're going to see a pass here, and it puts in a pass that's just a non-pass. And this will give you a rule-based pass. Now that's really great to have, and you can do rules. One of the excellent things you can do in this is to create rules. We have an automatic rule generator. So let's say we want to do a rule for this phrase. So I'm going to copy this, go back here. I can just get rid of this, put this text there, sweep on it, say generate general rule, and you'll get a rule with a new node, number, alphanumeric, number. So this is 2. And if you want to change it, you want to be number 2 number, just come in here and 2 and change it. And then when you run that rule, you're going to see that this rule will match. So those are really nice things to have in the system. I'm going to get rid of that rule because that will interfere with our parser, and we don't want to do that. So we can delete that pass. And one of the things that's interesting, when you delete a pass, it really doesn't delete it. If you come over here to the output files viewer, and you go to this little cog, this is for orphan passes. And you notice that that rule is still there. And if I wanted to put it in there, I can insert an orphan pass, and it will go and look at all these orphan passes, click on that, and there it is again. Okay? So that's a really handy thing, because as you're building analyzers, sometimes I don't need that pass. Then later on you go, oh, I do need it, and it's still around. Okay? And you can also right click here and delete all the orphans if you don't want them hanging around. The second type of pass you can put in is the code pass. So we'll put that in here, and we'll call this just code. And that's sometimes where you want to do some initialization. You want to create some global variables in the brain of it. Like this will be creating a global variable called KB in the knowledge base. Find root will go get the knowledge. I think of this as the brain, so this is creating an area in the brain called KB. And then anytime you want to add things to that area in the rest of the passes, it'll be in this global variable. But you can do all kinds of things in the code pass. So this is not matching anything, it's just executing code. And finally, we have functions, and we'll just put funcs, and you can write your own functions, which is very important. So I can write a function here, maybe to look at the word and conjoin it, look before it and look after it, and see if I'm going to conjoin two things like blue and yellow or colors. And so you can make functions to do whatever you want, to manipulate and look at the tree, to manipulate and look at the knowledge base, or do both. So that having functions is quite useful. Again, I'm going to delete that pass. It'll go into our orphan area, as you can see here. So those are the three types of passes. Now we can also look at active and inactive. So if there are different states of passes. So let's say I do have, let's put my one orphan pass back. Let's call it the rule one. And there it is. Let's say I'm testing it out and I don't want that there. I want to execute it, but I don't want to take it out. So you can make that inactive. You can then see it go gray. And then if I run this, you're going to see that it'll be running fine. It's not going to be calling that pass, and you're going to get your output final tree as normal. So that's one thing, is the inactive and active. The other thing is recursion. This one here is recursive. If I wanted to make this one recursive, I would say, and you'll see the big R there. I want to just make it inactive. There it is. So what we have here is the ability to change a pass to be called once. So if I only wanted to call this once, we would call this one time, and you see it comes with a little DNA there. DNA constructing a human digital reader. So that's where that came from. And then if you wanted to make it recursive, what that does is all of these two passes here, which looks for header stuff, will construct headers and header zones in a nested way. It finds all the headers, and the maximum header may be 3. So if you look here, and I talk about it in the video. So if you want to more about how recursion actually works, then go to and look at the tutorial video for tutorial 3. And the way you do that is to click on the README, and there for tutorial 3, there's a little icon there, and then there is the video that will explain that, so that you can make them recursive. Now, the other things you can do are to move passes. So I can move this pass up by hitting that, but you got to go up again and hit it. There's no easy way to move these quickly or to a big another place. That will be coming in future versions. You can also duplicate a pass. You can say duplicate pass. Here, give it a name. It'll put a 1 on it. So there you go. You've got headers 1. If it is recursive, you can put recursive. It doesn't duplicate everything about that. It should be doing that, but it quickly will duplicate the pass. Again, we can delete this pass, and it'll go into our orphans area. And the other thing you can do is search in this. So if you have something like you want to search all the places where there is header underscore, you can copy that, go to this, and this will search for where the header underscore is. I have the find over here. I keep that over here, and you can see there it will find. It takes a little time sometimes to find all these, but you're going to see where header is. And you can find all the places in your analyzer where header is. So that's the analyzer sequence, and good luck.